So we were talking about the three words that are really important moving forward is establish, elongate, and maintain. We won't have the power necessary to maintain attention on the breath in a gentle way if we don't first maintain awareness on ourselves. So remember, establish, elongate, and maintain. When we establish or it's more elongate or maintain one direction of attention, we will improve our ability to focus on everyday life. Because remember that this could be a 9-year practice for a person who's just starting this. Maybe they're getting it from me in a clinical setting and it's a part of a healing journey, right? That could be years. Who knows? So we have to look at it that way. We've been here for 7 years or 6 years or whatever, and but it's really important to remember that this took decades for me to put together, and to really drive it with momentum, that takes energy. Well, no, it doesn't take energy. It takes reducing the interference necessary for the energy to flow smoothly so that the power is there. And that's done through practice, right? Okay, so establish, elongate, and maintain one direction of attention will improve your ability to focus and concentrate. I'm just stopping there. Do you think that the world, planet Earth, the Western culture, could benefit from a practice that will help them focus and concentrate? LOL, yes. So this doesn't even have to be done to the degree that we're talking about it today to benefit people. A person could say, Ernest, I don't really want to do all that other stuff. It sounds hard. But I do think that I can establish, elongate, and maintain some attention on my environment, and I'll practice that throughout the day, and I'll get better at focusing and get better at concentrating on everyday tasks that I need to get done. And it's like, well, congratulations, that's awesome. I have no issue to take with that whatsoever. And a person could just stop the practice, stop advancing the practice there. Is that okay with everybody? Does that make sense? It's important. This is important to talk about and to really grasp that that's what this is. This practice is what I'm explaining to you now. Okay. If we're able to establish, elongate, and we're starting to really maintain two directions of attention, that will create an opportunity to be aware of yourself. We have put together an organized practice that will help a person be more self-aware. And I don't mean that in any abstract, ideological, or philosophical sense. I mean, a person will be more aware of their body, their emotions, their physical space, where they are in physical space and time, the words that are going through their mind, the shit that's coming out of their mouths. They will be aware of it as it's occurring. Does anybody here think that the world in general, Western society, that people could use more awareness of themselves as they're occurring in space and time? God, yes. And if a person just wanted to do the practice for that reason, because they want more self-awareness and they don't really want all this other junk, I don't know about the third and the fourth direction. That sounds too hard. That's weird. But I do like the idea of being aware of myself, for whatever reason. Maybe they have a reason. Maybe they just understand the value of self-awareness. I mean, it's one of the most amazing aspects of being a human being is that we can actually be aware of ourselves and how we're relating to our environment. Like, what? I can be aware of my own awareness, which is metacognition, the kids call it these days. That's cool. That's really interesting that the mind can even do that. Well, why don't I ever do it then? Why are people going around their entire lives not utilizing these amazing aspects of our brain's functional capacity? It's functional to be able to do that with your mind. to be very self-aware, because that's where emotional intelligence comes from. That's where learning comes from. That's where growing comes from. That's how a person becomes a better version of themselves. I don't usually talk that way because I don't like it, but you get what I mean. And then that brings us to warrior training. Because at warrior training, we've already started to get really good at maintaining at least these two directions of attention. And we're probably flirting with all four throughout the day in some way. You know, let's be honest, it's not that linear that we do this practice in that, straight fashion. It's just presented that way because I think that it will be very common for people. And maintaining awareness on your breath throughout the day, I guess if people aren't even talking about it, like that's going to be difficult. Like that's going to be a challenge at least. And one of the reasons, okay, so does all that make sense? And then we'll get into the reasons and we'll start talking about the breath and how to maintain the breath awareness. But does that make sense where we are now? And if you're not maintaining both directions of attention, that's okay. You still understand what I'm talking about. And just keep doing your practice. Thinking about your practice isn't doing your practice. Just doing your practice is doing your practice. And thus the thinking is directing you back to your practice. And then it has become a functional asset